Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I running game like a cheater. I'm balling like Derek.
So, Funkhauser goes on vacation. We go on vacation. For 1 week. One little week. I think Funkhauser went on a staycation. I don't know if he even went anywhere. But in that week, a lot of people have observed what could only be described as the world going freaking mad. Up is down, black is white, right is wrong. Everything that you've been raised to believe, everything that you know in your heart to be true, is questionable in this day and age. So much has happened in the past 7 days that calls into question humanity, who we are as people, who you are, how you respond to this sort of thing. And I think we've wound up on this show in the somewhat, it's a tremendous honor. It is also somewhat daunting that when this sort of thing happens, quite often we'll get messages, emails, tweets from people, especially when we're off. When something happens like an attempted coup in Turkey, shooting police officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge. The events that precipitated that. People being shot dead by police, not knowing how it happened, why this sort of thing happened, and what this means. You can think of the people that are there to protect and serve you, on paper anyway. There's a lot of questions that come up. And almost immediately when this sort of thing happens, especially if we've been off for a day or if something happens over the weekend or happens while Funkhauser goes on vacation, we get these messages. And like I said, it's tremendously flattering. It's an honor. But it is a bit daunting when you hear people go, oh man, when do you get back on the air? Can't wait to hear what your take is on this. And like I've said in the past, and I'll say again, there's something you're going to hear on this talk show that you won't hear from any other talk show host in America. And those are the words, I don't know. You're expected to speak from a position of authority. And in doing so, there's tremendous potential to go off half-cocked and to do some real damage. And so we don't do that. We don't pander. We don't work under the assumption that we know everything and that you believe we know everything. But when we hear from people saying, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, like I said, it's a bit daunting. But here's what I do know. You cannot do anything about an attempted coup in Turkey. I wish I could. My father's getting some medical work done in the not too distant future. He lives in Kosovo. Turns out the closest hospital that performs the sort of procedure he needs is in Istanbul. I don't feel great about that, and I wish there was something I can do. I can't. You can't do anything about the lives lost in Minnesota, in Baton Rouge, in Dallas. You can't do anything about the fact that people have senselessly taken the lives of police officers. You can't do anything about the fact that police officers may have taken the lives senselessly of people that should be alive today with their families. You weren't there, and you can't change the past. But the one thing I do know is that it always falls to you. While you can't affect these situations, you can in your own heart and in your mind and in your life. With your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people in your workplace, you can be a better person. And if you don't believe in the power of yourself, if you don't believe that this sort of thing starts with you, if you don't believe that everything that upsets you in this world that you've seen around you in the past week can't be fixed by you and your actions, it has to start somewhere, and it has to start with you. And if you don't believe in yourself, promise me you'll always remember, you're braver than you believe, you're stronger than you seem, and you're smarter than you think. Amen.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say that you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
So we are joined on the show today by our favorite Generation X Renaissance dude, Christian James Hand, noted record producer, noted radio personality, noted all-around nice guy that seems to be good at pretty much everything he touches. A man whose life is total improvisational jazz, a man who has fallen down the stairs and landed on his feet over and over and over again. We are stoked to have you on the show because we always glean something from you just by being in the same room. Thank you for joining us here today.
Wow, my mom wrote a great introduction for this week's show.
Yeah, I don't have music for you.
That's okay.
We got to work on that.
Yeah,
we do.
I should have something.
He's responsible for so much of it. Like, surely it would be it'd be a small job to find.
Ooh,
something
I got it.
that you had done.
There it is. Bump. How's that?
Perfect. I'll take
very
it.
good.
I'll take it.
That's very good.
Hello.
I noticed from following you on Facebook that you have you've been filling up and how you have any remaining hours is absolutely beyond me, between like all the radio jobs that you do and everything else that you do. But you've been filling up some of your recreational time by enjoying your medicinally legally prescribed marijuana that you are privy to in the state of California, and hitting the streets playing Pokemon Go.
That was a Friday night. What I like to do with my Facebook sometimes is I like to create fictional situations that seem just stupid enough that I would have actually done them for real.
Oh, you didn't do that? Oh,
No,
I
was
totally
walking,
followed your lead.
I know, that's the best part. So I was walking along Hollywood Boulevard. I was really, really high, and then I just thought if I gave enough of a toss to do it, this would be a great situation to start
What does that
playing
mean?
Pokemon.
Gave a toss?
Wait, hold on. That's one of those things that Christian can say because he's English, and I get it because I grew up in England.
Oh.
But if you talk about what it means on American radio, bing bong, hello, FCC, have some money. Go on.
right.
Let's just gloss right over that and not draw any more attention to it. Go on, Christian.
So I thought that it was one of those situations where if I gave enough of one, that I would start playing Pokemon Go that night on Hollywood Boulevard, high as the Dickens. But instead, I just fictionally did it, which is almost as good as really doing it, because you get all of the splash, none of the work, if you know what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to start treating your Facebook posts with suspicion now.
And that's the thing, is you never know if it's fictional or reality. That's my favorite part.
So who's...
That's why I have that as my sounder. It gives and takes. It's a little bit of wah, and then a bonk. You know, you never know.
So wait, who among us has played Pokemon Go? Funkhauser?
Oh, yeah, every day. I can't stop. Just
Really?
playing it right now. Well, I was earlier, but yeah. I'm on level 7. No big deal.
Man.
57 caught. Couple
that-
evolved.
I mean, how does it make you feel that you're the only person in the room who understands what you are talking about right now?
Hold on. I'm not listening to you right now. I'm catching one.
I have a small confession to make.
You've been doing it too, man.
Well, no, it became one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, like I deal with popular culture. This is part of my job. I'm a pop culture societal aggregator. It's my job to know what's going on in the collective zeitgeist of America. So I downloaded it and I've caught like 2 Pokemon. But here's the thing: do you game at all, Christian?
No.
Nor do I, except for in these situations when I'm on a plane or when I'm killing time waiting to go somewhere. So, like, the investment of time it takes to chase and find Pokemon is more than I've got. So I caught one going across the street to a deli for a sandwich, and then another one while I was at Best Buy the other day trying to get a new phone battery. And there endeth my Pokemon Go experience. What are we listening to, Funkhauser?
I'm catching them right now.
Is this the official Pokemon? This is the Pokemon music?
This is what, you see, you guys are out of the loop there.
As written by Jean-Michel Jarre during an acid flashback in 82.
This is what plays when you're out there. When you're out there looking for
Jean-Michel
them.
Jarre. That's an excellent reference.
Thank you very much.
Forgot that guy existed
Yeah, I
until
know.
just now. Very good.
He put a new record out last year.
You know why I'm bitterly resentful of Pokemon Go?
Why?
So, back in the day, I'm a band, punk rock kid, full of morals, principles, and the need for money didn't seem like a thing that I would be. I got this $1 million record deal. Thought like there was an endless supply of bank transfers coming my way for all time. That ran out in a year, but during that year, while I was full of teenage integrity and punk rock exuberance in a band, my manager comes to me and he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in singing a theme song to a cartoon?" I was like, "No." All right, let me hear the music. I was like, "This is cheesy 80s metal awfulness. I don't care no. I'm no." They're like, "Well, you don't have to sing it that way. That's just, the demo. You could kind of sing it your way. And this might be a thing, and there's a chance you're going to get money every single time it played." And I was like, no, hey, our record sold 5,000 copies last week, and that means I'm well on my way to never having to work again ever. So therefore, I'm going to turn down the $5,000 you want me to take to sing this theme song and any residuals that come after it and any ensuing notoriety. Besides, who's going to watch a cartoon called Pokemon anyway? Answer, no one.
Pokemon. You could have been the guy?
Yeah, I could have been the guy. And my 13-year-old cousin, I told him this story. He just one Christmas, I told him this story, and he kept coming up to me throughout the course of our the 3-day stay I had at my aunt's house, and he would just walk up to me and go, "Wow!" I'm like, "What? You really messed up, dude." I was just like, "Oh, come on." So that's why I'm a little bitterly resentful to the idea of Pokemon Go, and that's why I think I will play it in a fraudulent manner only online in Facebook updates, the way Christian says, so I don't actually have to open the app and give them the satisfaction.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already.
So it sounds like far-off science fiction. It sounds like something that would only happen in the pages of your favorite book that you read whilst living in your mom's basement and maintaining your adult virginity. But this is a thing. It actually happened. A man stole a human brain and was using it to get high. How? We'll discuss that after we get into the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. We haven't done this in a little while, and as we have the acute social observer that is Christian James Hand around to add his 2 cents to world events, I think we should leap into this both feet forward. Funkhauser, go ahead.
Yes. Hold on here.
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Oh, that was nice. Nice to be back here. Thank you.
Did you have a good vacation? It was your birthday. Yeah, go shorty. It was, in fact, your birthday.
Ooh.
What'd you do?
40 hours of nothing. I did a lot of grocery shopping.
Very good.
Did some Pokemon. Got this accent here. I use this accent when talking about Pokemon. Let's go out there and get some of them little critters. It's a lot of fun.
That was your vacation?
Yeah. I can't stop. Help me stop. Got to stop the game before I stop the accent. Can't do it.
Good Lord.
I wish it wouldn't do that.
You should come over to Classic Rock Radio. We're really doing crazy business over there, my friend. You would have needed a vacation.
So, besides your...
That was
besides successfully catching a gibbler, what else has been going on in the world, Funkhauser?
Antonio Sabato Jr., Scott Baio, and the boss of the UFC will speak at the Republican National Convention, which has been going on all day, right?
Shaping up to be the best cast of Celebrity Apprentice ever. Like, what the hell? To all my friends who said this convention would lack star power, I just wanted to say sorry that I doubted you. I mean, Antonio Sabato Jr. Go on.
Scott Baio.
What's the phone number? The last 2 digits of the phone number for them that we vote for on. Does it work that way this time or no?
Scott Baio, Charles in Charge, Joni Loves Chachi, and Happy Days. That's the wow.
That's enough. That'll get you in.
Have you ever? You're a Hollywood type of guy, Christian. You ever run into Scott Baio?
I did actually. One of my first couple.
Can you
of
run
weeks.
into him again harder this time?
Oh! I tell you to save it for the air, but we're unfortunately on the air. Yeah, I was actually in front of the Roxy, and there was one of those Star Wagon things, and I was sitting on the steps, and the door opened, and it smacked right into the back of my head, and the guy who was incredibly apologetic for doing it was Scott Baio.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Scott Baio beaned you.
Yeah, he beaned me, and then he was really pleasant about it. He's clearly, had some sort of early onset Alzheimer's thing happen in the past
It's a
couple
bummer
of years.
that he's such a nice guy, though.
That he's gone completely pear-shaped, top down, and now just says crazy things. That's not as bad as that Growing Pains guy, because he's really lost his mind. What's that guy's name?
Oh, Kirk Cameron?
Yeah, he's really gone off the reservation, but he's not that bad. But Scott Baio's definitely,
See, like for the Kirk Cameron guy, I get it because there's good money to be made in Christian television. Like I'm sure he is absolutely raking it in with this sort of stuff that he does, and people will mindless sheeple will be like, oh it's safe for my kid to watch that because this guy gets up on some soapbox and says this crazy thing. Not only that, but I'm going to donate some campaign finance money to his candidate of choice. Like that, I get. I can't quite figure out what skin Scott Baio's got in the game. Is it just because him saying I like Trump has garnered him the most attention he's gotten in about 25 years? Is that
bing, 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 bing? You've won.
But, I mean, is he being cast in anything because of it other than, as a speaker at the Republican National Convention?
No, he's not getting anything. But I was just, I read a really interesting article the other day that was saying that basically the reason that 15 people ran for the Republican presidency this year is or the candidacy, is because it's actually a huge gravy train. Once you back out of the election, you can then be on Fox News, you can be on every single radio show and you just get paid a boatload of cash. So it's kind of like understood that you can do that, and then for 4 years you'll do that, and then the next election cycle you do it again. So it's actually, they don't really care about running for the presidency. What they care about is the enormous amount of money they get for the press and the sort of the political junkets afterwards, which makes it total sense.
Well, I mean, it just became really clear really early on when you look at the clown car-esque aspect of the GOP presidential hopefuls. Like, there's so much so that remember in the early debates, they had so many that unless you were polling at a certain amount, you had to go earlier and get less coverage, and they called it sitting at the kids' table.
Yeah, he did the short bus version. Yeah,
which I thought was brilliant. But it just became crystal clear super early that most of these folks were on a book tour. They're just really just out there pimping something that they could make money off of after this was all over, or during the fact that it was all over. It's instant punditry, which I guess pays really well.
Oh, it pays hugely well.
What was the guy? And like he ran last time. He was the guy who said, I want to ban porn. And Romney and Obama were like, oh, thank God for that. We thought that guy might be problems for a second. I can't remember his name. He was such an also-ran. But what? And then he tried to set up, oh, come on, man. This is my job. It's so, like, some of these people are so freaking inconsequential. He ran, it was him versus Romney and Obama in the last election, and this time out, he had another swing at it. He left the I'm going to ban porn thing alone.
Not Cruz, or was Cruz?
No, not Cruz. No. I remember him. But in the meantime, he set up faith-based movie production studios in Dallas, like to make
Dude,
God
that was
movies.
Romney, dude.
No, it wasn't Romney.
That's what the internet says.
Oh, hold on.
To Google. Rick Santorum.
Oh,
Thank you.
Santorum.
Ba-bum.
And he made a movie called The Christmas Candle, which was terrible and did awful. But one thing I noticed was long after his bid for being president was over, I was checking out this movie that he was making, The Christmas Candle. I was like, what is this guy doing? This guy's not a public servant. He wants to, this is a get-rich-quick scheme for folks like this. And I went to his website, and you could still make donations to Rick Santorum for president, sort of 2 years into Obama's last term. And I was just like, what? Well, I mean, I guess you could be, taking a stab at the next run, but never took the PayPal link down, even when it turned out there was no chance in heaven nor hell that he was getting elected. He was still happy to take campaign finance money.
Of course he was.
Yeah, it was just and it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, no, there's great money in taking a run at being president. Look,
Sure.
I mean, did you know who Gary Johnson was before this? And
Nope.
look, yeah, exactly. But everyone's gonna, and he's going to. And you know what? I really hope. What does he have to pull at? 15% to be allowed to be a part of the debate?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And I thought he was close to 11 or something. He was getting close. And to me, the two-party system is something that there's so many people looking at their options this time around, going oh no, neither of these people speak to me or for me. This is awful, just awful. This is the time where I think you're not throwing away a vote for another candidate. I really don't think you are, because you're having your voice heard about the fact that this is not going to cut it. And who knows when that eventually kicks in. So I like what Gary Johnson's doing, but let's be real here. I don't think he expected to win, but he did expect to hop on the gravy train afterwards so he could go on a speaking tour.
All right, look, we've already had this experience before, and it was Nader, and Nader divided the vote, and that's how we ended up being in Iraq for 6 billion years. So let's not be silly. Let's not be childish. Your social responsibility and your ethical responsibility is to not vote your conscience, because voting your conscience is actually myopic. Your responsibility is to vote for the betterment of the country globally. And therefore, you only have one choice, and that's sensible, because the most ridiculous and scary thing about this whole thing is 3 Supreme Court justices. Do not mess around. That is what this election is about. Bong! In all seriousness, do not screw around. Don't do this. I'm going to write in Bernie. None of that crap. Don't go for these third-party dingwads. None of these people matter. What matters is getting to make sure that the Supreme Court stays liberally focused so that we can get rid of this stupid Citizens United garbage. We can stop these attacks on women's rights. We can stop every single abortion problem that we have. I don't care. These are red button issues. Get it taken care of. We need sensible government. And don't think that voting for some third-party clown who said that libertarianism is the future is going to work. It's not. Period. Bong. God, I get so annoyed. It's ridiculous. This is how Brexit happened, you idiots.
Do you get to talk about this stuff on?
No.
On
No, I'm on a
at your
classic
other
rock
job.
radio station where I talk for 28 seconds about how old people are getting together in Coachella Valley to play a bunch of songs we're all tired of.
Yeah.
Old Cella. Come on, man. And if they're smart with that thing, they would run that every 2 weeks for the entire summer. None of those bands would ever have to work again. Did you hear what the payday is for everybody?
Oh, it got to be huge. What is it?
$7 million for each show.
That's it.
$7 million per band for each show, and Led Zeppelin turned it down. Or
That's
Well,
why water's $3 there.
yeah,
Branson offered Led Zeppelin I can't remember the exact figure, but it was in the hundreds of millions.
oh dude, that's nothing. You know what ABBA turned down, right?
ABBA?
Yeah.
No, what did ABBA turn down?
Oh, this is no joke, dude. ABBA turned down a $1 billion tour offer. $1 billion.
I'm
So
sorry, I
this-
didn't hear that. Did you say
$1 billion.
billion?
Yeah. To tour, and said, no, we are fine with not. And that was it. Game over, no discussion ever again. $1 billion to do Dancing Queen around, because it would have been absolutely huge. They'd have made that money back and twice as much, easily.
I wonder. I mean, they must be doing just fine. There's got to come a point where you go, how much money does one person actually need? But here's my thing with ABBA and Led Zeppelin turning down stuff like that. I think it gets into the conjectural moral dilemma area here, where you're actually being offered, as effed up as it is, you're actually being offered an amount of money that could cure world hunger, more or less. You know, like it's just like, and to have that power to go make that money by singing and dancing. I mean, maybe you got a bad hip, maybe you can't hit the high notes, but like, even if you don't want it for yourself, even if you're fine with yourself, if you have the ability to generate that kind of cash and then go do something good with it, especially if you're in a place in your life where I don't need $1 billion. I don't need that. That is superfluous to my needs. I'm fine without it. I feel as though, especially if you're ABBA, like Led Zeppelin, they can still sort of go like, this is the right thing for the integrity of the band and all this sort of stuff. Is this, really what I want to do? Now I've got my sure thing going on with a honey dripper, said Robert Plant. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, ABBA, Dancing Queen, you could go out and make a bunch of people really happy, make a ton of money, and cure world hunger. And I think it's kind of morally reprehensible that they don't do it.
Well, the thing is that the blonde chick, Agnetha, she has some sort of, it's not whatever that going out in public places problem is, but she has some sort of mental thing that she doesn't want to actually go through the process of being on tour and doing it, which she's not agoraphobic, but it's something like that, which I completely get because you've done it. Being on the road is really cool for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, you want to kill everybody in the band, you want to kill yourself, you want to set fire to the tour bus, you want to run screaming as far as away from everyone as you possibly can. So if you do a tour on that level, I mean, it's like watching Gabriel and Sting last night. It's like, they're kind of phoning it in, but you kind of have to after a while because it just becomes a rote process that's it's only exciting to the 6,000 people that are in the venue that night.
Did you really feel like they were phoning it in?
Yeah, I think that, I've seen a bunch of, because of working at the radio station, I've had the pleasure of seeing a bunch of artists that I haven't seen prior, and it kind of bums me out a little bit, but a majority of them are just, it's by the numbers. Like these songs don't have any meaning to them anymore at all, period, which is a bummer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And how
I had a different experience when I saw, maybe it was the new, I think I saw him on one of the first nights of the, not Gabriel Sting thing, but I saw Sting and Paul Simon a little while ago, and that, well, we'll get to what that did to me next. Ha-ha! Tease radio.
Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid, jamming on the one like Theo and Steve.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
So our guest in the studio today is Christian James Hand, who went and saw Sting and Peter Gabriel last night.
Yep.
You felt like they were... Did it mean a lot to you, even though you felt like they were kind of phoning it in?
No, because I was spoiled by touring with Peter Gabriel for a couple months. So I've seen that guy 9 million times, and every single time was a religious experience. So this was a little bit not that way. The guy who's playing drums for him currently is not the guy for the job, which I was shocked about.
Who is it?
It's a guy, a friend of mine actually posted his name, something Lynch. And the guy, so if you haven't, so it's cool. It's called the Rock, Paper, Scissors Tour. And basically the two of them are on stage together the entire time. I thought it was one opening for the other, which was why I had no interest. It's actually them on stage at the same time. And they share a couple of members of the band, but each of them has their own bands on stage too. And then they do each other's songs, which is kind of cool. And Vinnie Colaiuta's playing drums for Sting,
yeah.
who is, Vinnie's just a monster without a doubt. But I will say I was kind of a little bit teed off because he does a bunch of Police songs, which is very cool, but Vinnie didn't play them as Copeland would have played them.
Right.
He played them as Vinnie playing them, and there's a lot of drum fills that are really integral to those songs because much as, I don't know if you know about my experience with Stuart Copeland, but much as Copeland is a bit of a DB. He
Hold on. What?
Flong.
What is your experience with Stuart Copeland of the Police, Christian?
So on my radio show, I have this conceit where I first started. So I had sex with a girl many years ago who I didn't really enjoy the company of, and drunkenly one night ended up getting her name as a tramp stamp on my back in the tramp stamp location. So when I started this radio station, we had a tattoo guy come in, and he crossed out her name and then tattooed my co-host's name on me. And now I have a conceit that if somebody comes into the studio who I think is more famous than Andy, I get that person's name tattooed on my back. So if I don't consider them less famous or more famous, they don't get the privilege of being on my back. So Graham Nash did not get, but Colin James Say I've Men at Work did. He was the first. And then
hold on. Wait. Graham Nash, you think your co-host is more famous?
Yeah.
I just heard the name Andy now.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
But I know who Graham Nash
Isn't
is.
that great? Well, Graham was not being a lot of fun that day, so it's kind of like, yeah, you don't get to. So
it's not so much. It's exactly who's more famous. It's more like who I like and who I don't like.
But it's like who's more important to me, and Graham Nash isn't that important to me. But Andy is, what I'm saying.
Okay,
It's not a global famous. This is my back. It's not everybody's back. So I had, and it's, so Colin James Hay did one, and that was great. He was fantastic. And then the next person to come in was Stuart Copeland. So, and Copey is a bit of a douche. That's just the way it is. Everybody knows that. So, I explained it to him, and he was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd love to, blah, blah, blah. So he put this enormous signature on my back. I'll show it to Funkhauser. It's huge in comparison to everybody else's. It took 4 hours.
You gotta tweet out a picture for everybody.
It took 4 hours for this thing to get done, the entire show. And it's so getting tattoos on your back is so brutally painful. Nobody should have it done. So it's the only ones I've got up and walked away. So he did this, and then Carmine Appice came in, and Carmine did one, and then the next day Carmine went to Stuart Copeland's house, was hanging out, and was talking to him about it, and then showed the picture, and Copeland was like, wow, I really was a total DB when I did that. Look how huge that thing is. So Copeland has problems, but nonetheless plays a very specific way. The choices that he makes are very, 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 very specific to him. So to not play those drum fills in those songs is kind of annoying. And then my girlfriend is she's a record producer, an incredibly talented, genius person, and I introduced her to a lot of Peter Gabriel's earlier works, and he did a couple of his earlier songs, and he had his own drummer, and then there were points where he and Vinnie Colaiuta were playing together, and neither of them did drum fills from the Peter Gabriel stuff that is Jerry Marotta, who is such an artist, and Phil Collins, such artists. And then, really annoying, is that they did Red Rain, and the Lynch guy who was playing with Gabriel didn't do it, but I don't know if anybody knows this, and you probably won't because this is hit radio, not old people radio. But on Red Rain by Peter Gabriel, Stuart Copeland of the Police was hired solely to play the hi-hat track. That's the only thing.
So, this is a drum nerd conversation, and you and I have successfully alienated about 85% of the audience. But to the remaining 15, we are gods.
They are stoked. So Vinny didn't even do the Red Rain hi-hat pattern, and he was sitting on stage the entire time. So there were so many missed opportunities, and the biggest missed opportunity was in face of everything that's happening in the world. They did not close with Peter Gabriel and Sting singing Biko together, which is unforgivable. Unforgivable.
That is.
You end with big time?
Big time?
You end with big time, gentlemen.
Not even Sledgehammer?
Big time. I'm on my way. I'm making it big. Blam, 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 blam.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe they've just had it. They're like,
that's what I'm saying.
We've been the social and political conscience of the world for the last 30 years. Let's just go out and be rock stars.
Well, I will say the moment that really connected, the only moment that I thought connected, was Peter Gabriel did a song entirely on his own that nobody had really heard before, that was written specifically for that female MP who got killed in England. Who he'd actually been on some sort of leadership escape thing with, and she'd been there when she was first trying to work out what she was doing. So he dedicated the song to her because she'd been killed a couple weeks back by a crazy racist guy in England, shot and stabbed on the street, leaving her house on the way to Parliament. So he did that, and that was incredible. That was one of the moments when the entire place gelled. But having seen him every night for 2 months, and being able to walk out during Sledgehammer, Big Time, go grab a soda and come back because I had an all-access pass, it was that was the way to see Peter Gabriel, because every single night of that first WOMAD tour was incredible.
Insane. Funkhouse, are we out of time? Is that
No,
what?
here.
Oops.
You just give
Now
us
we
the...
are.
You just pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, I was at. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, is this DJ Shadow?
Do we have time?
No.
We're going to break.
Yeah.
All right.
Is this you sampling DJ Shadow, A.D. Roundtree?
Mm-hmm.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So like I said, it kind of sort of sounds like the plot to a Trauma Movies picture, but a man has been arrested with a stolen human brain that he was using to get high. How is any of this possible? We will get to it after we finish rolling through what remains of the news. What else is going on in the world, Funkhauser?
Ivanka Trump, she's got a Russian accent, right?
Yes.
I just want to make sure before I read the next news.
Okay.
Ivanka Trump posted picture of herself makeup free.
I don't know if Ivanka does, because that's Trump's daughter. Does she have a...
It's weird, though, because it was almost like she was in the room. I closed my eyes for a second there, and I was transported to a location.
That's what she sounds like, right?
Yeah.
I thought.
Does she have a...
No.
No, she does. She's
just normal.
She's just
Yeah.
annoying. My father.
She posted a picture of herself makeup free. It didn't work, though. Her dad continues to hit on her. It's weird. Go on.
Donald Trump's childhood home is on the market for $1.65 million.
Put that on the list of things I don't care about.
That's it? Childhood home.
Yeah, it's not one of his new ones.
It's where he grew up, learning to relate to average
should be a
everyday
museum.
Americans. Go on.
Hillary Clinton said Bernie Sanders will also have a seat at the White House once she's elected.
Yep. Mandatory.
Yeah, I don't think she can win unless she says stuff like that. Like, I think, so, you know what's kind of interesting? Christian, you are a fan of the work of Rand Paul?
No. I think Rand Paul is an idiot. As do I.
What about Ron Paul?
No, I think both of these
Pops.
people are completely out of their minds and don't understand that the minute that you put a stop sign up in the middle of a town, you can take your libertarian values and shove them where the sun don't shine. Period. Bong. People are idiots. You need stop signs. Once you have stop signs, you can no longer then say that libertarianism functions as a way to have a society work. Done. Moving on. Next.
So, a lot of, what's kind of interesting was, I don't know if you caught it or not, but Ron Paul, the senior Paul, was really kind of taking a piece out of the hide of Ted Cruz when it looked like Ted Cruz had an opportunity to possibly secure the Republican nomination for president of these United States of America. And he sort of said over and over again, he was like, look, he pretends to be a person that has libertarian values, but all you folks that are, hanging on my every libertarian word know that he's not really that. He's in bed with Goldman Sachs, and no, that's not a thing. Don't be snowed by this. And he was like, the one person that has any kind of sense of libertarian value is Bernie Sanders. And it's just very interesting. It really is kind of an anybody's who knows situation, because like Trump alienates people on the right. I think there's a certain amount of folks that are alienated by Hillary on the left, and Trump was, a Democrat until about a day and a half before the election started, and it's very interesting. So all these sort of little, Bernie's got to be part of my clique type of sort of things I think, really affect the outcome of what could wind up happening. It's like, I don't think stuff like this has made a difference in the past. I think this time, interestingly enough, it does. Like saying Bernie's got a seat at the table is a good way of securing some stuff that is not as secure as it normally would be at this stage.
Well,
of the
look,
election.
you got all these burners who are, they're all about I'm not going to vote for him because he backed out and blah, 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 blah. The dude's a lifelong career politician. He knows what's good for him. He knows what's good for Vermont. He knows what's good for the rest of the country in that way. And yes, he succeeded. He succeeded in bringing things into the conversation that hadn't been discussed before. He pulled Hillary left, which was his ultimate thing that he wanted to do. He's pulled the whole party toward the left. So he's got to get her in there because there are an enormous amount of disenfranchised young people who are ready for some drastic change. And they should have some drastic change. The two-party system sucks. The whole thing is broken. But the way that you fix it isn't to fail in the presidential election. It's to actually realize that the power is in the Senate and the House, and that's where you need to get all of your change people in. People run for office, get locally changing stuff, and then the government will be at a shift because you can't pass stupid laws if smart people are stopping them from happening.
You need a job where you don't have to just talk about Pink Floyd.
Bong! This is like I come here and I'll just have political diarrhea because I've been so stopped up from talking about Pink Floyd for 6 months. Don't forget, the Eagles are out on tour.
But, I mean, like, you bring up a really interesting point. Like, it's the fact that, look, Bernie made some real headway.
Huge.
And he ran under, like, the banner of democratic socialism.
Yep.
Donald Trump is a guy who was laughed out of, like, this is not the first time Donald Trump said, hey, I think I might try being president. It's just he was laughed out of the room so quickly over the past couple of election cycles that it never really came to anything whatsoever. The fact that Donald Trump has made the headway he did, and the fact that Bernie Sanders, look, I don't care what the difference is between democratic socialism and socialism as the rest of the world knows it. The fact that you can get somewhere in America with the word socialism in your sort of like rhetoric as this is going to be great for America, and people don't immediately throw it out because they don't care to dig beneath the surface, just shows how unbelievably ready people are for anything that is different. People going like, we've never heard that before. Everything now sucks.
Yeah.
That sounds different. I'm interested in that because it sounds different. Trump, democratic socialism, all of the above have tremendous appeal because one's not a career politician. The other one is suggesting something that never would have flown in a million years in America over the past, ever.
Well, look, here's the thing. The truth is that the closed-minded, bigoted, ridiculous, stupid, ignorant right side of the table is dying because the world is changing and is evolving. You have gay characters on television. They're no longer just effete gay people like we had in the 80s. You have three-dimensional characters. You have a black guy in the White House. You have legalized marijuana in most states. It's going to happen simply from the financial reasons alone. So if you're a bigoted, closed-minded, right-wing person, you're going to lose your mind because the world looks like it's upside down, whereas actually the world is evolving. And the loudest a drowning man is right before he goes under for the last time. And we are experiencing the drowning cries of drowning people. And it's going to be okay, man. We just have to make sure that we stay focused, keep everything cool, everybody. Om Chakra, do some yoga, and we're all going to be fine.
Speaking of gay people on television, have you guys watched that Netflix series, Sense8? I know it's not TV, but nevertheless, have you seen it?
Couldn't do it. I tried for 3 episodes, got really bored, but everyone says it's awesome.
You get past episode 3, and it really is
Really?
awesome.
Starts to take off?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
It took 3 episodes. I would stick with it.
All right.
If you're running out of stuff to watch, give episode 4 a try. You'll probably have to rewatch the first 3 episodes because
Okay.
you literally spend the first 3 episodes going, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was like, I don't have the bandwidth.
It's one of those things where it's just like I was watching it being like, I feel stupid. Did I miss something? I'm not
Right.
usually this stupid. I'm stupid, but I'm not this stupid. And then I asked somebody else, they're like, no, nobody knows what's going on for the first 3 episodes. You're cool.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
But-
It reminds me of an English show called The Tomorrow People. Do you remember that show?
Oh
AD?
my God, the Tomorrow People.
Of course,
Wait,
yes.
hold on. Okay, so I remember watching that in England. I'm confusing it with the Tripods. You remember the Tripods?
Of course. This was the 4 kids who had the superpowers and like the weird robot voice and the big tube. And it would say things and then it would light up and get dimmer again. And the 4
Didn't
kids
that
had
used to be on
superpowers.
either before or after Grange Hill?
Yes.
See?
Yeah, Tomorrow People. So that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh, this is just an inflated Tomorrow People. But
It is extremely gay.
Okay,
and
good.
I mean that in that there are. Look, obviously, whoever created it was on a bit of a mission to be inclusive in this way because, your characters are sort of like tough alpha cop dude, hot Scandinavian DJ chick, and then there's a gay couple who, and the gay love scene between them is the most graphic depiction of gay sex I've ever seen when I'm not flipping around Pornhub or YouPorn or something like that and click on something wrong and go, oh, what? No. Okay, now I have to start all over. But I was really, and then there's a transgender character in it as well, who is, and I love the fact that they made her, like the person who plays her actually is a transgendered person,
right,
as opposed to when you get Sofia Vergara to play it in that movie with Ray Romano, which I thought was still kind of cool. But
the
nevertheless,
Orange is the New Black. That transgender person is awesome. Same thing. Yep.
So, it really is pushing the envelope of acceptance, and it's clearly they made it their mission to do it. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. This is really interesting. And I think pop culture showing this sort of stuff and not making it the central theme, like the L word. This is a show about lesbians for lesbians. It was the whole thing. But in this stuff, it's incidental to the plot. And I think that's kind of cool because, look, no matter
it's incidental to life.
That's exactly right. It's incidental to life. And, no matter what your thoughts are on this sort of thing, bottom line is this.
Burn 'em.
If you are a straight person, I think, we've talked about this a million times on the show before, but if you're a straight person, the percentage of you, straight guy on girl type of individual, of you wanting to commit suicide, I think it's right around 4%. 4% of straight people will attempt suicide at some point in their life. Now, you move to gay, that percentage jumps up dramatically. You move to, I think the official term is having gender dysphoria, where you're not necessarily transitioning or transitioned, but you have confusion about your identity as a gender. The percentage of people with that situation going on that attempt suicide is almost 50%.
Yeah, of course.
So, anything that pushes the narrative of, this is no big deal. They're people, this is just people. This is incidental to life. This is incidental to the plot of this sci-fi drama that you see on Netflix, and this is incidental to life. Is any way that sort of acceptance can be pushed and that number can come down is just a tremendously valuable thing.
But it's already happening because my sister she's a teacher in pre-K, and she says that those kids' gender doesn't even matter anymore. It's, the binary is shot. And because the truth is that not everybody, the amount of people that are actually gender binary is incredibly, incredibly slim. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm a big fan of walking around in 6-inch stiletto heels. It's not because I'm gay. Has nothing to do with me liking dudes. It happens to be that I happen to think I look incredibly sexy and I love walking around in 6-inch heels. Doesn't mean anything. It's just a fashion choice.
I've followed you on Instagram and I've yet to come across that.
Oh yeah, my girlfriend and I went to a little party the other night and I was wearing my heels. It's awesome. I love it. Yes, I've never felt sexier than in a pair of 6-inch stiletto heeled boots. It's incredible. But that does not mean anything other. I mean, my girlfriend is incredibly hot. I dig chicks. I just happen to like that. So the whole thing is so fluid at this point and only getting more fluid, which is why I'm telling you, just keep going. The internet has changed everything, dude. Social media, everyone decries it. Shut up. It's bringing awareness to places that didn't have awareness before, which is why the first thing a totalitarian ruler does when he gets in is he shuts down the internet. Period.
I wonder... And you know what? Tremendous show, and we didn't even get to talk about how a guy was getting high off of a disembodied human brain.
I know.
Well, that's a story for another day. Christian James Hand, it is always an absolute treat and a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Next time, I want to discuss whether or not you've ever had to run from someone wearing 6-inch stilettos heels and how that went.
Stand your ground in your heels, people. Stand your ground.
People the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that well.